Hi, I'm Estee. I'm one of the embryologists that manages the lab at Orchid. I'm originally from South Africa. I came to Dubai in 2017 and I've been working at Orchid now for the past 8 years.
My name is Hughlene Baker. I'm also from South Africa, also part of managing the lab. I've been in this field for at least 18 years now already, and I've been working in Dubai at Orchid for the past 5 years.
We work behind the scenes. The patients don't really get to see what we do. We don't meet the patient before. So I think sometimes when a patient comes here, they're very confused as to what exactly happens inside the lab. So our role is to take care of your eggs and your embryos and also your sperm. Our role is to make sure that your gametes are always handled safely, that everything is done ethically. We have to make sure that the conditions in which your embryos are cultured are optimal. It needs to be the correct temperature, the correct pH. We also have the responsibility to be as transparent as we can with you. We need to convey results with you, explain the results, and we try our best to, in this process, to help you reach your goal of having a healthy baby. Embryologists have a big emotional responsibility. We know that couples come here, they've maybe tried for a long time, and they come here with a lot of hope, and we recognize that. And when, as an embryologist, all we want to see is good results. So if we come the next day and we see that the result wasn't what we expected, it affects us. We are happy with the patient. We are sad when the patient does not get a good report. At the end of the day, each embryologist in our lab celebrates and is sad about results going unexpectedly.
So once we retrieve the eggs, like the doctor retrieves the eggs in theater, we get it in the lab. We will hold the eggs for 1.5 to 2 hours after the retrieval to first evaluate what procedure we will do with the eggs. We will look at the sperm parameters, what the concentration is of the sperm, what the motility and the morphology is of the sperm. We will liaise with the doctor and inform him or her regarding the sperm parameters. And then the doctor will decide which way we will go in terms of the procedures, if it's suitable for ICSI or if it's suitable for IVF. After that, the steps just follow. When we do ICSI, we will what we call denude the eggs. That is to remove all the cumulus cells around the egg so we can see the maturity of the egg. And we will take the sperm. We will physically inject the sperm into the egg, only mature eggs. And then the next day we will check for the fertilization. With the IVF process, we will leave the eggs and the sperm in a dish for it to fertilize on its own, because IVF is supposed to mimic the natural environment where the sperm enters the egg on its own and then fertilize. That will also be checked the following day. Our protocol in the lab is that we will basically inform our patients from day 1 up till day 6 or 7, except for this one day that we don't do phone calls. That will be on day 4. The reason for that is that the embryo is in a transitional stage where you can't really count the cells of the embryo anymore. So that's why an update on that day would actually not be helpful at all to the patient. But we will check, from day 1, we will check for fertilization. The following day, we will update on embryo development. With regards to embryo development, we will look at how the embryo looks in terms of quality. We will count the number of cells. We will look at fragmentation. We will see if there's any anomalies in the early development stages of the embryo, and we will inform the patients accordingly. It's always our first priority to always be transparent with the patient as much as we can be, so they are fully prepared in terms of their embryos. and what the possible outcome might be. Firstly of all, we will start with quality. We always start with the best quality first and work our way down. And if it's necessary, if the patient has a specific request as to how they want their transfer to go, or which embryo they would prefer to have transferred, or if the doctor has a specific request, then we will liaise more with the doctor in terms of the decision making when it comes to choosing the best embryo for the transfer.
Majority of the transfers now are frozen embryo transfers. I would say about 98% of our transfers are frozen. It's just that it's not that fresh doesn't work. It's that a lot of our patients are for genetic testing. So we know that for genetically tested embryos, we are transferring a chromosomally normal embryo. So that's why patients prefer to go the frozen transfer route.
So usually it's not the lab that actually recommends the genetic testing. It's the doctor who will advise the patients. But mostly it will be for older patients that we would recommend genetic testing, and for patients, of course, who wants a certain gender. If they basically want to balance their family, if they come and tell us we would prefer to have a boy or we would prefer to have a girl, then we would also advise, the obvious route will then be to do PGTA, because PGTA provides you with the necessary information regarding the status of your embryo, whether the embryo is chromosomally normal or abnormal, and it will also give you the gender of the embryo. Then you can choose accordingly if it's for family balancing.
Also in patients with repeated implantation failure, miscarriages, those are also indicated for. To ensure accuracy and to make sure that your straw is properly labeled and we can identify it at a later stage, we've got 3 unique identifiers. So we use the name, date of birth, and your unique ID number that you'll receive at Orchid. And this is then entered into the system, and everything is double witnessed. So when we freeze the embryos, there will be 2 people witnessing the straws, 2 people witnessing the dish, 2 people witnessing the embryos moving from one dish to another dish. 2 people will witness once it goes into the freezer. So everything is documented, and this is how we avoid any mistakes to be made in future.
And then we also have an extra step that we like to use, a color coding system, where we make all your dishes and your tubes throughout the whole process the same color. So that's also an easy way for us to coordinate between only the patient's dishes that we handle. So an embryo can be frozen actually for a very long time. In the UAE though, according to the law, maximum period of embryos to stay frozen here is 5 years, but there is the option to extend, which the patient should just inform us if they wish to extend past the 5 years. Then we can just keep the embryos for them. There's also then the associated fees that they have to pay on a yearly basis to keep the embryos frozen, and necessary consents that needs to be signed on a yearly basis.
But there's no maximum period. It can be kept for as long as you want.
As long as you want to keep it, yes.
Once the embryo is frozen, it gets stored in our liquid nitrogen tanks at minus 196 degrees. So for these tanks, each tank has a monitor attached to the tank, and this is monitored 24/7. So if there's any temperature drop or any thing that's wrong, each embryologist will get an alarm, and we will have to come to the clinic to see what's going on. So they are continuously monitored.
Well, from our side, we would like patients to know that we always try our best for every patient. Every patient is as important as the next patient. We keep We handle everybody's embryos and sperm with the utmost care and precision, and it's always our goal to have a successful outcome for every patient. I would say we like what we do. We like to work with embryos. We like to watch them grow. It's a really proud feeling for us to be able to create these little lives and to keep watch over them. And it makes us really happy when the patient can also be happy and at the end of the day get a healthy baby.
I think an embryologist is a very special job because we form part of what makes couples' dreams come true, and that is having a baby. So it's a very high satisfaction job.
At Orchid, our lab team, I feel we have a very special lab team because everything that we do in the lab is as a team. There's no individual embryologist that ever works on their own. We support each other in each and every step, and that is how we can deliver the best service for the patients. We create so much of little lives in the lab. We play music on a daily basis in the lab. We sing out loud, and there's always laughter, there's joy, because we enjoy what we do so much. For the patients, we want all our patients to have good outcomes at the end of the day. We will always try our best. And the fact that we do it all together as a team is even better, because you can't ask for better care than when so many people love your babies and give attention to them all the way through to the end until you receive them in your belly with the transfer and we get the pregnancy result to say that we're going to welcome another orchid baby in the future.